I always feel conflicted when we do a biopic where the person's still alive. I don't think it's going to be true, but if Elton John died tomorrow and we find out he had like a weird gimp sex slave that he took around on tour with him and kept him in like a gigantic suitcase, we got to remake that movie. Or there's got to be like a little thing at the end where we talk about it, and I just don't think you guys are going to have the courage to do these things. And I don't know, because there are lots of reasons to do one for somebody and that type of thing. Typically, when you have something to say or a thing to tell about your life. And that's fine. I don't really, it's not my business. I don't think Mark Kerr set out to have a documentary made about him. It's actually kind of crazy that there's a documentary from 2002, and there is now, it's a biopic, which is the dramatization, obviously. Anyways, we watched The Smashing Machine, the biopic about him in 2025, and hot damn, I've never seen The Rock act like this. Admittedly, I did have to look up. He is wearing some prosthetics because during a lot of the movie, I couldn't tell that was The Rock. I've not seen him act since, I'm going to say, like, 2013 when he was in Pain and Gain. Although I often laud his no, I don't laud it. I always praise his performance in Jumanji 2, where he looks the same, but he is doing a lot of acting. Same thing with Kevin Hart in that movie. While the movie is not as well regarded, it's probably the hardest those two have worked in 10 years. I did think this was really good. I think the script kind of sucks, and there's an element of it where Mark Kerr's life does not lend itself to the betterment of what at the time was becoming the UFC. It doesn't help anybody or talk about addiction. And even in the movie, he just dumps all the drugs, and that's pretty much it. There's a couple of times when you're pretty sure he's going to relapse, and he doesn't, or at least it appears he does not in the movie. And I don't know. It's worth looking at. If you ever get a chance and you want to really dig into this movie, go watch a couple interviews with Mark Kerr from around that time, or even the ones that we're doing now, because, he's obviously touring with them and talking about the film. It's wild how much The Rock has adopted his mannerisms, looks like him. If you're not aware, The Rock had to get pretty beefed up in order to look like him, and he looked like a monster then. So, doing a great job. I wouldn't be doing anything worth doing if I didn't talk about how Emily Blunt does a great job too. It's worth looking at Dawn Staples at that time. The fit she has when they're in Japan is that is the dress. You can very plainly see it in the photos. So they do a great job of that. Ryan Bader, this is his acting debut. He looks great. He's doing great. I legitimately thought he was a different actor. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head who I thought he was. But yeah, he's doing great. I was stunned to find out he was not somebody who's in stuff all the time. He's a UFC fighter, obviously, but Bas Rutten does a great job. I've seen him in a couple other things. I just couldn't. I wouldn't have been able to tell you what or who, or whatever. But yeah, these four are doing a great job. They all look pretty good. Everything sticks together good. Excellent work there. There's an element of this where we chose to use the handheld camera without, stabilization or something. Everything is framed well. Everything looks good. But the camera wobbles a fair bit more than I like in a movie. And that's not for me. And the dialogue seems very flat. A lot of this is almost A for A out of the documentary from a ways back. And I don't know. I feel like if that's what you're going to do, there should be more ado made of it, or more dramatization, or more liberties taken there. Earlier this year, there was the documentary and the biopic about the submersible. Not that one. Hold on, let me look it up real quick, because I remember talking about it, and I just can't remember the long and short of it. I remember now. It was Last Breath, and it was a dramatization by the same director who did the documentary. It came out, I want to say in, God, that must have been like March or May. and stars Woody Harrelson, Simon Liu, and Finn Cole. But there's a huge disparity here in where Safdie here has basically just turned the documentary into a movie and, rewritten a couple of things and then reshot it for a modern camera setup. And Alex Parkinson was doing a lot of work. It's very different, and they're very different products. And I just don't know how much I really appreciate that, because it probably needs a little bit more polish. He's probably the weakest element of all this stuff going together, is Safdie and the work that he does. Somewhat ironically, it's a similar thing to Uncut Gems, which he helped direct, because it's one of those things where we forgot kind of that Adam Sandler can act. He just has not had to. We've paid him not to for 30 years. There's no reason to do it, so who cares? But I really like this. I think that The Rock does a great job. I think Emily Blunt does a fantastic job, though I kind of expected it out of her. If you get a chance, go look at the prosthetics and the transformation The Rock goes under. There's an interview where Mark Kerr is talking about how his son ran across The Rock while they were in production. And damn, even he is like kind of haunted by the transformation The Rock undergoes. He's got his mannerisms, he's talking like him, he looks like him. It's stunning what a good job they do. And a lot of that is The Rock has done a fantastic job. The makeup department has done an excellent job, and they put in the work here. I think this could have been a better product, but I'm not sure to what degree. There's an element where they need to talk a little bit more about addiction, but it doesn't seem particularly that Mark Kerr was ever like a big advocate for getting better, getting healthy, outside of, like very personally. He was never like talking about it publicly, as far as I can tell. And there's that. And, Mark Coleman has a big story to tell too, but it seems fairly straightforward. During the movie, it was kind of funny because the big prize in 2000 was $200,000. And it's such a laughable sum now, I actually had to like do a double take, and that doesn't sound right. And they even describe it in the film as a life-changing sum of money, and it's just kind of wild how much this whole thing is blown up compared to how it was back then. So, I had a good time. I really enjoyed this. I think the performances are stellar. Safdie needs to work on his product, but honestly, Johnson carries a lot of this with just his energy and his delivery. Fantastic work, honestly. This is probably like a 5 or a 6 for me, but a lot of it is lessened, where I probably would have rated it an 8 if I had not done a little bit of research and looked up this documentary. And there's just a lot of elements there that I don't know, feel like we could have done a little bit better if there was already a documentary. So there's that. You can't A for A the dialogue and then be mad that, you get a low score. You kids be good. I am going to go to work. Yeah. If you like this content, I'm supposed to ask you to like, comment, and subscribe. I think like is here, and comment is probably down there, and subscribe over there somewhere too, I think. I don't know how many times this like snippet is gonna make it into a video. Everybody says you should do it this way, and I always thought it was just like an annoying thing other YouTubers did. And as you know, I am bad at editing, so if you like it, great, I'm happy for you. If you don't like it, I'm sorry.